All right, so we've got our short in the S&P, Einstein trade, Einstein 3. We've got a short in the crude futures with Einstein SmartBox with the correlations on. We are at break even already, or at least the stop loss got moved to break even in both. So it's a free trade. Now we did hit the first target already in crude, which is the yellow line, the S1A, and we hit our first speed bump here in the S&P, which is dash white line is yesterday's low. We've got our target down here, but we might push it down and just trail it. Don't know yet, but we do have the first support over here in crude acting very well. Now our guiding light for this trade has been the notes heading into bull territory. It's knocking at the door. In fact, let me go ahead and move, and this is what I'm doing since I am on automation here. I got another chart going, and I'm going to push down the profit target, and I'll be working with that, and I'll be working with the trailing is already on its own. This was our entry. The trailer now moved to 2032. Now we were in a very similar trade yesterday, trading the FOMC, and it took us out with the trailer. Exact same picture that we had a minute ago. We were up 270 bucks. It took us out with a trailer. We only locked in 150, but that's okay. When these markets run, they run. You gotta allow them to run. We're going for the bigger, larger profit targets. So we've got a good balance here between crude and S&P. It's a directional trade. And on the bottom right, we've got the notes. We're waiting for the notes. If the notes fail to push into bull zone, which is right where it's at right now, it's knocking at the door, then I might go ahead and close these and then wait for the next signal. We didn't have that luxury yesterday trading the FOMC minutes because it just, the momentum was just there. I mean, we didn't have any major support, resistance, or bull bear lines that we're approaching. We're up about 200 on this S&P, and we're up. It looks like only 100 bucks here in crude futures.
I just got 400 out of the Russell.
Way to go, Ken.
How about that?
Right, Mel? Mel says at least they're trending today. Volatility is what I'm seeing. We're up 275 bucks on this trade right here. Well, Ken, it looks like we get to eat lunch today.
How about that? might even be a halfway decent lunch for a switch. No white bread.
No white bread.
You're in crude or not? Yeah, you are.
Oh yeah, I'm loaded right now. It's not a big deal. It's only one contract in each. But there's that bounce. There's where our original target was, where it's bouncing right now. And the system itself, we're up 375 bucks. The system itself has brought the trailing stop right, because this happens a lot. You'll get a quick move, and when it gets to the lower yellow line, they bounce. They do bounce. So we might get taken out. But if it consolidates in here and goes again, I might consider adding a position. If not, that move all the way to where it's at right now, that could be a total of about 800 bucks. And you can see that crude's not doing it. Let's see. and no follow through on the notes, and that's why you're seeing this pullback right here in the S&P. But if we get another push up in the notes, we'll be in pretty good shape. I'm going to go ahead and turn off natural gas. We've got natural gas storage in a few minutes. Well, bottom of the hour. My apologies, not in a few minutes. So again, I took one off on crude manually, and I'm leaving the S&P, and the trailing stop is at 20.28, it looks like, and a half. And the reason for taking that out manually is the S&P has, not the S&P, the notes has failed to have any follow through in the bull zone. So we should see, there we go, we just got trailing stop hit on S&P. And the culprit, if you want to blame, or if you want to make sense of it, is this pullback in the notes. So what does that translate into? How much money did we make? Let's see.
So you don't think that has anything to do with those little yellow lines you draw on these charts every day, huh?
Probably has a lot to do with it, Ken. Those lines are like golden,
I mean, that
man.
sucker came down and hit it dead on.
Dead on. This was our original profit target right there, by the way, that dash green. Yeah. So could have made extra money, but that's okay. You know, sometimes these markets run, and we were going to give it a chance to run. Let's see how much money we made on those trades. All right. Well, we made $321 in the S&P. No, I'm wrong. $225 in the S&P. And we made, it looks like we made $20 on a crude trade earlier. Earlier we did a Mississippi trade and made $20 on crude, $31 in the Mississippi trade in the euro, 225 Einstein trade in the S&P, and only $90 on crude. We might get back in crude if it hit a lower low, but what I would like to see is for the notes to break out of the high. Then there's plenty of room for these markets to move. Plenty of room. Say that again, Ken?
Said everything is stalled out at the NOS levels.
Yeah. For those of you that might be new, I know we have a handful of new folks in the room today. These yellow lines are our NOS levels, part of the NOS levels, and that's what Ken's referring to.
Yeah, I printed retracement too, but I think my settings are not as sensitive as, or are more sensitive than yours. You're running 10 and 8, I think.
I believe so, and so I didn't get the retracement marker, but I got the overbought markers right here, and it came right when it was trying to go into the bull zone. These are the notes I'm talking about, guys. In fact, let me go ahead and get a drawing pen here, right here. So you're overbought right when it goes into the bull. This is the bull line right here. And
I pay attention to those guys.
And this is our exit, so we've got a little consolidation going on here. Might get another signal, another short signal here. But what I'd like to see is for the notes to come back up and break out of here. Then I would like this short. So we'll see where they go. Gold is having a run up right here in the upper left screen, so we may see the S&P weaken. So we may get a new signal generated on the short side on the S&P and on crude as well. We'll just have to wait it out and wait for the signal. Ken had mentioned that the bull bears and these yellow lines, a lot of times they act as support resistance lines on these pullbacks, and it looks like that's what's going on with gold. So it stopped at its tracks at the bear line, which is acting as resistance, and that's why you're seeing the S&P moving higher, and crude as well trying to move higher with it, as the S&P and crude has been tightly correlated with the S&P. Ken, it seems like that's exactly what's going on here. We've got this resistance in gold, and it's helping push rotation flows. Looks like S&P trading higher, and so is crude. So on our shorts, we didn't pick the very, very bottom to get out, but we did made some pretty good money on just with one contract on each. So, and there you go. Here comes the retracements, and correlations are they're in sync today, which is helping us be a step or two ahead of the markets.
Sure makes a difference, doesn't it?
It's nice when you can find an edge, in the markets. That's for sure, an edge in your trading.